I'm Jenny Bell with Threads of Hope Counseling in Minnesota. Are you living in line with your values? If you're not, I can almost guarantee you are feeling unsatisfied and unhappy in life. Today we're going to talk about what it means to live in line with your values. Your life has a purpose. Whether you believe this or not, whether you believe it based on faith reasons or just in general, it's true. And if you try to deny it or live like your life doesn't have a purpose, you're going to end up feeling lost or empty on the inside, even if you walk around with a smile on. So let's talk a little about what it means to live in line with your values and some of the common values people struggle with. Now, personally, I'm a Christian, and so a lot of my personal values are based on my Christian faith. But there are plenty of other areas that people have values, whether they explicitly state them and are aware of them, or whether they're unspoken things that we only notice when they start to be violated. Let's talk about some examples. A very easy one, personal happiness versus commitment. Now, these two don't necessarily have to be opposing values, but sometimes they are. For example, no one signs up for marriage thinking that it's going to end up in them falling out of love or being unhappy or hating their spouse. Sometimes this happens. Marriage is hard in general. We are not always going to feel warm and fuzzy towards our partners, but when we decide to stick it out, we are demonstrating or walking out the value of commitment. If other people may decide to get out when they don't feel warm and fuzzy towards their partner anymore, emphasizing their value for personal happiness. Now, there's values associated with either, but I guarantee that if you don't walk out major life things like that in line with what your values are, you're going to feel an excessive amount of turmoil around it. Now, I don't say this to shame anyone based on any decisions you or someone you love may have made regarding a marriage or something similar. It's important to notice whether we have values around that, and if we're not living in line with our values, if we're not making major decisions in line with those values, we're going to feel it. You may even be feeling shame at this point if you made a decision that didn't match up with your values. Another common value for people is the value in achievement. Now, this can be a healthy value. It can also be lived out in an unhealthy way. So, are you driven by success and the desire to be admired by your friends and colleagues? Do you share only the fluffy life events on Facebook? Do you maybe hide or not share your failures or disappointments with friends or family? Do you find yourself constantly seeking the next big thing or the next big goal in order to feel more sense of purpose in your life? Now, there's nothing wrong with being goal-directed, but is that where your sense of self-worth is coming from? And if this is an important value for you, it's important to consider whether you're living in line with it. Are you wanting to be successful in your career, but you're sleeping in and showing up to work late and unprepared? All of these things obviously will affect your life and your satisfaction with your life. Another common one that I hear about is the search for security. We all have kind of an innate need to feel secure, but we seek it in different ways. So are you chasing after financial security, after that next big promotion, that better relationship, that person who's going to make you feel secure, or that shift in family relationship that will finally feel safe and comfortable? Now, this may be a value for you. However, you might be pursuing it in a way that's not helpful for you. Or maybe you are. It's mostly just important that we're aware of it, that we explore it, and make sure that we're living in line with it. Another important value that a lot of people struggle with, or set of values, is belonging versus authenticity. Are you trying to connect with others and find your place by changing who you are? Are you being maybe on the other extreme, so insistent on being exactly who you are that you're off-putting to others and alienating your friends and loved ones? A good way to check about The belonging one is think about the last party or social event that you went to. Think about something that you said or did. That thing that you said or did, would you be likely to say it or do it and feel comfortable if you were in private? How about if you were in another public setting? Now, we all shift how we interact with people in small ways from one setting to another. But if you are behaving in a way that would, let's say you're behaving in a way with your friends that would embarrass you in front of your boss, or that would embarrass you in front of your family, maybe you're not living in line with your values and being authentic to who you really are. On the other hand, if you value authenticity so much that you are alienating people, that could be problematic too. Maybe you need to make sure that you're living in line with both. Another one that I frequently see with people, in particularly those in the Christian community, is kind of the value of serving versus self-care. Now, on both extremes, I see problems here. Are you exhausted by saying yes to everything and everyone except for not taking care of your own needs? You see this a lot in church communities where serving tends to be a heavily emphasized value. Maybe you're saying yes to every Bible study, to every serving opportunity at church, and you're volunteering, and you're so burnt out at the end of the day that you can't even be present with your family. Well, that's not really living fully in line with that value. Or on the opposite, maybe you say that you value serving, but you don't volunteer anywhere or help anyone besides those in your immediate family. This could lead to feelings of shame and insecurity based on not living in line with that value. Now, as far as self-care, there are people who, in particular within the faith community, who have such a heavy serving value, may even consider self-care like it's a dirty word. It sounds akin to being selfish. So it's important to really explore these values and make sure that you have a healthy balance and a healthy understanding of what they are so that you can live your life accordingly. Now, this was certainly not an exhaustive list. I just came up with a few examples that I know have been struggles for a lot of the people I've worked with and in my own life. If any of these struck a chord with you, maybe it's time to think about it a little more, think about whether that is a value for you and what that means to you, as well as what it means to really live that out in your life. I also encourage you to honestly assess whether you're pursuing these values in a way that adds meaning and fulfillment in your life. We only get one of these lives on earth. It's important to do it right. Live within your values to have a more fulfilling life. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.